If you have hit the link that has brought you to this video, which is to learn those two slap bass patterns which I showed, right? Now, before we begin, slap bass is a I think it's a very personal concept. A lot of people have a lot of definitions for it, right? And a lot of people have a lot of ways to execute it, right? You'll find some people slapping here, some people slapping here, some people slapping here, right? Some people slapping all the way back here. All of them, all these combinations do exist, right? All of them are right. I don't think there's any wrong way to do it as long as it sounds like this. As long as you can get that going, great. Right? So slap bass is a very percussive sort of a thing, right? It's like slap bass is not about playing a billion notes like today's slap bass in slap bass. I said that intentionally. Insert slap bass faces there. Yep, you imagined right. Now moving on. Slap bass is more percussive, meaning you're thinking like a percussionist, right? So, and you're also playing, well, some part of the harmony. That's like you're not doing just that alone, but you're playing some notes in between that, and in essence, you're kind of being like this melodic / percussive bed, which other people can sit on, like other people can play on, basically, right? So you must always remember this when playing slap bass because it's so easy to overplay, right? And it's so easy to like hit really hard and overplay in the sense of dynamics also, right? So overplaying doesn't mean that alone, right? That does have its context. What I played, it definitely does have its context. It definitely does have its place, but it shouldn't be a fail-safe, right? Moving on. Two things I showed you. The first one, which was this guy, right? So that involves three different parts of your hand, right? Or rather, three different movements from your hand. One would be what I would call the thump, yeah, because this is the thumb. You hit it, it sounds thump, 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 hence I call it a thump. And not this. I don't call this the slap. So for those of you using a different jargon, please convert it into your jargon, right? So thump. Then what you do with your index finger is to pluck, basically. It's to do this, right? Or this finger. It's that sound, right? You could do it here, but for best results, somewhere in this space would be great, right? I tend to thump like just before the fretboard starts or just after, right? They both have their sound, right? So thump, pluck. So maybe you want to just practice that first, right? Like just do octaves here. Like maybe I'm playing D, C, E, D, right? And doing just octaves. Right? Just that thump, pluck, thump, pluck. The agenda behind this exercise shouldn't be speed, right? Just like any exercise. The agenda behind this is to actually get the notes to ring out, right? Right, and not to do this. That's a different technique, right? Let's not go there, right? So just do like thump, pluck, thump, pluck, thump, pluck. By the way, I don't have any compressor or anything running. This is just the dry bass going through my monitors, right? That's all you're hearing. So thump, pluck, thump, pluck, thump, pluck, thump, pluck. You might notice that my thump is a little softer because I have this habit of muting it with my forearm, right? So if I don't do that, also, right? So what I did there at the end was a double pluck, right? We'll talk about that another time, but you could experiment. It's basically two plucks, right? Right? So now that we've gotten the thump pluck out of the way, the next thing that you need to know is the hammer-on, which I think everybody knows because most bass players are guitar players, right? So the hammer-on is basically you play a note and you don't play, but you use your left finger as a hammer and you just whack the note on, basically. See, no hand, right? Hammer-on. So pluck, hammer-on, right? Simple. So we're going to start with the D here and the E, right? There are only three notes that we're going to use. Either two notes we're going to use and two strings, right? So D, E, and then open E string. If I were to play this tune, I play this line without the slap, it will sound like this. Right? So, but you can see I'm doing something here, right? That. You see that? Right? So I'm doing 1, 2, so if you were to count, right? It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That what I'm doing with my fingers there, that is what I call a slap. See, it sounds like a slap. Imagine being slapped. Slap. Slap, right? This. You might ask, hey man, why aren't you using all your fingers? Why is the index finger doing this? What happens if I use all my fingers is this. It rings. We don't want it to ring now, do we? Right? Use. Right? Right? So that's the idea. Really slow, this groove goes like. So thump, hammer on, thump, thump. Thump, hammer on, thump, thump. Let's learn that. Just repeat that till it becomes like very, subconscious. Also try to not do that, right? Like you're not stabbing or you're not attacking something. This is not, when they say attack the strings, it doesn't mean you take, it's not that. Fast forward, right? So thump, hammer on, thump, thump, right? Now let's play the same thing. I'm gonna just play the same thing with the drum track. You can find these drum tracks anywhere on YouTube, right? 90 BPM drum track. It goes like that. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Da 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 da. Da 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 da. So I'm just going to play on the 1 and 2. That's it. Da right? Make sure you're like really on time. I rushed there. I rush there again. Okay. I muted the swing. So as I'm doing, I'm trying to call out my own mistakes and trying to focus into doing this and not into go into a line where I'm doing that, right? So let's pause our drummer there. The first part of the groove is really easy. The second part is where it gets tricky. So it is slap, thump, pluck, thump, right? So slap, thump, pluck, thump. Everything is a dead string. Let's go some slap, thump, pluck, thump. And that is the hard part, to actually get it to mute, right? So you get, that's easy. And then slap, thump, pluck, thump. So basically you're doing tick-tock, tick-tock, right? Right? There is the groove. Now, if we were to play to the groove with the drum track, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Right? So this is in, there is a part 2 to this groove, okay? This is actually taken from Victor Wooten's Groove Workshop. The part 2 to the groove is the exact inverse of it, right? So it goes, right? That's the entire groove, right? Play it with the drum beat. 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, I went into something else there, right? So that's the idea. That's groove number 1. The second thing we spoke about, or I spoke about on Insta, was this. So it's like this. So again, the same thing. Hammer on. So hammer on, thump, pluck. So thump, hammer on, thump, pluck. Right? So you could incorporate this as the second part of the groove. So, right? So usually used as that, right? So I'm playing it in all in fours, right? Like try to begin with that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, taka, jitta, taka, jitta, taka, jitta, taka, jitta, right? So it's 1, 2, 3. Right? And it's as simple as that, right? So also try to remember, like see, on this bass, right? If I were to slap just on the bridge pickup, which is the Jaco pickup, right? Because it's that sound, right? If I just use just the Jaco pickup for this slap, well, it sounds a little honky. You know what I mean? Like it sounds like it's got that like going on, right? If I were to use the P bass sound, I mean like the Pino pickup, as I call it, it sounds too boomy, right? So it sounds too like throaty, you know, like it's got this. I'm not changing any of the other controls, right? So what I'd like to do on this bass especially is actually keep it exactly where the notch is in between, right? And just push it a little bit towards the Jaco side, and that gives me that perfect balance between both of them. Right? So have fun, experiment. But so this groove should be played on all strings, right? As you can see, I need to work on that string, right? But you get the idea, right? And again, like I said, I'm not much of a slap bass player myself. I play very little slap bass, if at all any. But yeah, so do enjoy. Here's a little bit of a PS note, right? Another lick that you can learn, like just that, right? Double thumb, down, up, pluck, right? Speed that up, and you have your triplet. Right? Voila. Okay, cool. Have fun, and hopefully I shall see you soon.